Happy birthday to moi. Hey guys, as you are watching this today, it is September 21st and tomorrow, the 22nd, is my birthday. And I, despite looking like a 15-year-old, am actually turning 24. And I thought, that this calls for a special kind of video. Now, I'm not sure if you'd be interested in any of this, but to those who are younger and wanting to know what you might learn by the age of 24 or what you wish you had known before turning 24, and if you're older and you haven't come across, these little lessons that my own journey has led me to learn, then keep on watching. I have notes for important things because I couldn't do 24. Honestly, I tried and I couldn't. I condensed it into 4 important things that I think are very relevant to my life moving forward. So the first thing is that you never really feel like an adult. I used to think that once I hit 21 or 22 that, you'd start to feel like an adult. But you don't really get there. And even when you turn into an adult, you're still trying to figure out how to adult. I still feel like I'm 18. I still get an existential crisis each time I realize or I'm hit with the fact that I am nearing my mid-20s and that I haven't actually reached my goal yet, or I'm not living my dream yet. At this point in my life, I feel a mix between impatience for wanting to be where I want to be, the drive to do what I need to do to get there, and hesitance. Hesitance because I feel like I'm not ready to get there yet. I'm at a point in my life where I still really want to learn things. I feel like there's still so much for me to learn. I miss learning and going to school, and I also miss workshops and all that. So I guess this leads me to my second point. We all live life in our own pace, and there's absolutely no shame in that. I used to be such a pressured overachiever, and partly fault for that goes to the culture that I grew up with. In the culture that I grew up with, there's always pressure. There's always pressure to be this, to have a career in that field, maybe to save face, to make your family look good, or even just to assure the people who love and care about you that, you'll be okay and stable in the future. But that is pressure, nonetheless, to do something that you might not be interested in. But the truth is that we live life in our own paces, and maybe you are interested in those things, but you're just not ready for it at this point in your life, and that's okay. I have personally seen my grandmother and my father bloom at what people would think are late stages in their life, but that just happened to be their time. And that's fine. We can bloom in our younger years, we can bloom in our own mature years, and we just need to accept that life's pacing is different for every single person. And specifically for me, I've been pressured to keep up with all my friends and acquaintances and classmates and stuff who, are starting their success in different fields, especially in the fields that I love, and also the fields that I don't love, because it makes me feel like, oh, if I took that field, perhaps I'd be successful now. But I need to get my head out of that gutter and realize that my pace is different, and even though I'm not as successful as I'd hoped to be in my youth, then it's fine. Because we're only young ones. And I hear that a lot from older people, and I feel like that's really gotten into me. When older adults would actually praise what I'm doing, even though they know I'm 24, and tell me to enjoy my youth. Because you're only young once, and yes, we have to make responsible choices, start saving money, start building your credit, start thinking about your future and taking lessons towards, reaching those goals. But don't sacrifice your youth and the things you love in order to compete with other people's successes. Whew, that's deep, but it was a really important lesson for me to learn. The third thing I've learned is that walking matters more than talking. And it sounds cliche, but this matters so much to me and has mattered to me on a different level because I am a Catholic, a Roman Catholic. I am a practicing religious, and it's so hard to admit, well, no, really, it's not that hard because it's so glaringly obvious that there are people in the church or any other religion, really, that make the religions look bad. And I'm not just talking about regular parishioners. I'm talking about preachers and religious leaders alike. Since university, my relationship with God has really been enriched in a more personal level, where it's not just about traditions and rules anymore, but more about really understanding the meat of my religion, which is always choosing the more loving option because that's what God would do and is just what's right, And my biggest pet peeve ever since making that the heart of my spirituality are people who act like the Pharisees. The Pharisees symbolize people who know the law by heart, go to Mass every Sunday, and yet in this modern day decide to say that being gay is a sin and that eating shellfish is not, when the scripture clearly states both as sins. These are people who pick at the Bible to defend their prejudice and hatefulness and totally ignore the fact that Jesus came down to earth to take these Pharisees down a notch and, say that there's a new rule. There's this new rule, it's the number one rule, regardless of anything, and that new rule is to love everyone and to choose the more loving option no matter what. So therefore, I'm a strong believer that to be a good person, regardless of religion, and especially if you are religious, is to choose the more loving option. This is what, from my point of view and understanding and limited knowledge, is exactly what every single religion is telling us to do. So walk your talk. Now, the last lesson I learned by 24 is probably the most important lesson, but also the saddest lesson. I was literally crying while writing this down in my little script notes thing. And this lesson is that my parents were right. My parents were right, and I wish that I was a little kid again. Kids are always in a hurry to grow up. They always want to drink all the sodas, stay up as late as they can, and have money to buy things for themselves. But with great power comes great responsibility, and I wish that I could tell little me to savor every single moment of her childhood. To savor the times when I used to sleep beside my little brother, when my dad would hold my hand when crossing the street, and when my mom would ask me what I wanted for lunch in school the next week. Don't get me wrong though, I'm so happy and grateful about where I am and how my childhood contributed to bringing me here. But childhood memories are priceless. And I wish that I could go back and savor every single moment all over again. I just wish that I knew what I would be missing before I grew up. I hope that you enjoyed this little video. And let me know when your birthdays are down below and what you learned or the important lessons that you learned before turning that age. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a huge thumbs up. Leave a comment down below and don't forget to subscribe because you're already here. Why not subscribe and hit that notification bell? If you want to see my other social media, I have an Instagram, a Twitter, and a Twitch because your girl games. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!